hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I thank you all for watching, and I thank all my subscribers both here on YouTube and on Rumble. And yeah, that is not a boat. What you're looking at right there is a Marlin model 25 MN chambered in 22 mag, and these are starting to get a little bit hard to find used. And I ran across this rifle here, about 8 months ago at a local pawn shop. And by the way, before I go any further, you can see the JM stamp there on the barrel. But anyway, like I was saying, I ran across this rifle a few months ago at a local pawn shop and went on ahead and grabbed it because, like I said, these are getting hard to find. And it does need a little bit of work. Now, overall, as you can see, it's a fairly clean rifle. The stock is in decent shape. It does have a couple of little blemishes here and there. That's normally something I would not worry about. Someone did at one point in time replace the blue box mag with a stainless magazine, but I was able to find a new blue magazine, so no problem, no worries there. You know, if it works and it functions, you know, we're going to use it. But the stock on this rifle from this side, you know, looks like it's in decent shape. But I'm going to flip this rifle over here in just a moment, and I'm going to show you why I'm going to have to disassemble this rifle and completely redo the stock. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the rifle flipped over on the other side, and overall the bluing on the metal parts, it's in better than average condition for a rifle of this age. I'm estimating this is probably a 20, maybe 25-year-old rifle. And of course I already pointed out the stainless mag. Now I did locate a blue mag, but the real issue with this rifle is back here by the shoulder stock. And this is one of those, you've got to be kidding me. Who in the world would do something like that to a rifle stock facepalm moment? Someone, at some point in the past, carved an ace of spades in this stock. Why? I don't know. You know, who in the world would do that to a perfectly good rifle stock? But that's what we're going to be doing to this rifle. I'm going to attempt to repair that, and I'm going to restore this stock. I think I can rescue this stock. I think I can get rid of that. And so we're going to go ahead and get the rifle disassembled. And I'm going to start by taking the bolt out so that we will disable the rifle. Now, I have not fired this rifle since I've owned it. I have not taken it to the range. I know that it has never been loaded, not since I've owned it, but you know, just for my viewers' peace of mind, I'm going to go ahead, take the bolt out, and of course once the bolt is out, then the rifle will be completely disabled. Let me get the camera set up, and I'll be right back in a moment. Okay, so let's get the bolt out. Of course, you know, on a bolt action rifle, easy process, just pull the bolt all the way back, pull the trigger, and I think I'm hitting on the scope. And I'm hitting on the scope right here. So we're going to take the scope off because the bolt is catching on the back edge of the scope right here. All right, I'll be right back. All right, take two. And the bolt was catching right here. And I may or may not put that scope back on that rifle. I don't know. I'll make that call later. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and remove the bolt. And I'm going to make sure that we got a good shot of that. Let me zoom in just a little bit for you there. Okay, here goes. Take two. Just like that. Piece of cake. Drop the magazine. Set that to the side. Set the bolt to the side. Zoom back out. And just so you folks know, just so you'll have peace of mind here, just so I don't get people screaming in the comments, that is an empty chamber. And like I said, I have not fired this rifle. I have never loaded it since I've owned it. And we're going to go ahead now and we're going to start the process of disassembling this rifle so I can get it down to the bare wood stock, and we can start the process of restoring it. All right, folks, I will be right back. Okay, so the lighting's not the best. I do apologize for that. First order of business, I'm going to go ahead and take this butt plate off. It's just two Phillips head screws, number 2 Phillips, and need both hands for that. I'm just not going to be able to position the camera over here to show you that, but I think most of you have pulled butt plates off of rifles before, so let me get that off. I'll be right back. Alright, so that little butt plate is off of there, and I'm just going to throw all these parts here in the bucket so they don't get scattered everywhere. I'm going to throw my mags in there too. Can't hurt nothing. Put the bolt in there, and let's take a look at that bolt. And yeah, we're going to examine that a little bit closer at a later point in time. Looks like it's okay. I mean, there's some wear and tear there, but I don't see anything really that's cause for major concern. But we'll look at it a little bit closer later on. All right, trigger guard. Okay, speedy, speedy. Note to self, that is a much longer screw on the front side. Okay, there's the trigger guard is off. Next is the magazine guide. Get that camera set up for you. It's kind of awkward, but I want you to see this. And hopefully we don't move out of the frame there. Okay, there's the plate for the magazine. And finally, I'll lay this on the table so we don't have anything going crash and bang. I'm going to take that big screw out right there. Grab a big humongous screwdriver out of my box here. And that's the big humongous screw. I'm going to lay this down on the table. Hopefully we don't get out of frame there. If we do, you're just going to have to take my word for all this. Should be just one screw. Yeah, that one's a little tight. Okay, here we go. Just like that. And let's flip it over and let's see what it looks like down in the saddle. It's actually nice and clean. Had somebody not taken to carving the ace of spades in this stock right here, I would have left this rifle alone. I would have just taken it apart and cleaned it, oiled it, put it back together, and gone out and had fun with it. But as it is, I just don't like that. You know, I get it, you know, it's a sub $300 rifle. I understand that. You know, some people may just see this as just I don't know, just no plinking rifle. And you know, brand new, it probably didn't cost $220, $230. But still, I mean, there's no reason to deface a nice rifle like this. I mean, the wood otherwise is in really, really good condition here. I have I've bought rifles and shotguns with wood in a whole lot worse shape than this, but hopefully, like I said, I can get this lifted up out, and we're going to try to raise the grain. I'm going to use the steam method after I get the finish stripped off, and like I said, I'm going to try to steam this out, raise the grain, and sand that out, and If that does not work, then I'll have to go to a plan B. I really don't want to go to plan B on this because this is, other than this little blemish right here, it is a nice stock. So with that, I'm going to call that a night right there, and tomorrow I'm going to start the process of stripping the finish off of this stock. I'll be back. We'll see you later. Well, I just tried some acetone on that, and that acetone, man, it didn't even touch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break out the citrus strip, and of course that's going to involve just slathering that stuff all over the wood and wrapping it in saran wrap and just letting it soak on there for a few hours to take that finish off, and hopefully it'll lift this out too. I don't want to get too crazy sanding this because I mean it's going to leave like a little divot right there if I try to sand that out. I would rather get this stripped down and then try to, like I mentioned earlier, use steam to raise the grain and then sand it back down. But the first step is get it stripped. All right, I'll be back. All right, so I'm getting ready to pour the citrus strip in a cup here. And I'm doing that off camera. Okay, so there is my citrus strip, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to brush that on. And I mean, I'm just going to goof that stuff on. Then I'm going to wrap that area with saran wrap. Now, I'm not going to try to strip the entire stock at one time. I'm not going to do the whole stock at once. And that's just because it's easier if I do this a section at a time. I'll probably just, let me zoom back a little bit. I'll probably just go up to the wrist right here, or maybe just stop a little bit short of that fake check ring right there. And yes, I call that fake check ring, and I'll explain more about that later. But in a nutshell, that's not a real check ring there, where they actually use a check ring tool to carve that pattern into that wood. That is what they call inverted check ring, where they actually stamp that into the wood. And so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful working with that, and because you can make a mess of that in a hurry. We'll talk more about that later. But for right now, let me go ahead and get busy stripping this thing down. Probably should have pulled that sling mount out of there. I probably still can. Like I said, I'm going to stop just a little bit short of that fake check ring right there. It's perfectly okay to do this in sections. You don't have to do the whole thing at once. And this is just easier for me. It's easier to handle the stock for me. So I'll set that brush aside, grab a pair of pliers. Sling mount out of there. Should come out easy, relatively speaking. Yeah. Throw that over in my bucket here in a moment. I'm just looking at my lens on my camera here, and I just realized that was almost out of the frame. No biggie. Let's rock on with the citrus strip. This is weird trying to do this while watching the camera so that I don't get out of frame, but at the same time I need to watch what I'm doing here too, and I lose sight of it in the camera. Okay, so we can get all that coordinated right there. I think I got all that. Oh, missed a spot. right there. And I absolutely want to make sure we get that thing soaked. Alrighty, like I said, I'm gonna stop just short of that stamped checkering right there. And the reason I know that it's stamped is because the little diamonds are inverted. Normally with regular checkering, the little diamond, the little peaks would be facing outward. These are facing down into the rifle. That's how we know it's stamped. Like I said, I'm going to have to be extra careful working around this. I might tape it off. I don't know. I'll see when I get to that part. And what I'm going to have to do is either tape it, or if I do have to do any sanding in this area, it's going to be very lightly done with like 800 or 900 grit sandpaper. I mean, just almost kind of like the that finishing sandpaper that you use in auto body work, like 1000 grit or something like that. I mean, I'm going to have to be just, like I said, extra careful in this area right here. All right, let me get this wrapped up, and then we will call that a night. Okay, and like I said, I'm doing the best I can with the camera work. I do have a GoPro. I might switch to my GoPro for this stuff here. Well, all right, we have touchdown. Let's wrap her up. And I have, in the past, just used those grocery store bags like you get from Kroger or Winn-Dixie or Tom Thumb or Publix or wherever you happen to be, whatever your favorite grocery store is, wherever you happen to be. And that's it. We're going to leave that wrapped up overnight. I'll come back, check on this in the morning, and I will see you then. Okay, so it is the next day. Let's unwrap this and see what we got here. I'm going to use an old gift card to scrape that finish off of there. Scrape this mess. Alright. Maybe that's promising. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what happens when we go to be scraping here. Now that I've got the finish off of there, it doesn't feel nearly as deep as it did prior to scraping that finish. This might turn out better than I thought it was going to. All right, let's speed things up from here. That looks better. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know if that was ink or paint. Still don't really. But all I do know is the Citrus Clean did put a dent in it. And it almost feels like, it almost feels like they took a router and kind of just cut that in ever so slightly. But I think steaming that out is going to be the way to go here. Now, the only thing I have to be careful of is that on some of these stocks, they're not solid wood. Sometimes they have a veneer covering over like some kind of like a substrate type of wood. This might be like a walnut laminate or veneer over something like oak, and you have to be really careful when you go to sanding on that, because it's kind of like well, the same thing they do with kitchen cabinets, where you've got like a thin veneer over. Sometimes they use particle board on kitchen cabinets, but it's the same thing here. You got to be careful how much you sand on this, because you can burn through that veneer real quick, and then it's just ugly underneath, and there's really no way to fix that. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. And so again, just got to be careful here. Alright, I need to go get some lacquer thinner. I thought I had some. I am out, so I'm going to have to make a quick trip to the hardware store. I'll be back. Okay, folks. Hopefully the lighting will let you see that. But we're getting there. Kind of bring that up a little bit closer to the camera. And like I said earlier, I don't know if somebody used a Sharpie. I don't know if they used black paint. But I don't know. But it looks like the citrus strip and the lacquer thinner are taking it out slowly. I want all that black ink, black paint, whatever that is, I want all that out before I start trying to raise that grain with the steamer. And so we're going to hit this with another round of citrus strip. We're going to wrap it up again, and I'm going to check on this tonight when I get home. And I also started over here on the middle of the stock too, and as you can see, you know, the citrus strip got some of it, and some of it is going to need another dose. And so we're going to hit that again. We're going to wrap it up again, leave it until I get home from work tonight, and then we'll just go from there. Alright, we will see you then. Okay, just real quick before I start slathering the citrus strip on there again, I wanted to tape off that checkering right there. I'm going to try as hard as I can to stay out of that checkering. If I do get into it, you know, well, let's just cross that bridge if or when that happens. Alright, so I'm going to get busy with the citrus strip. I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I've got this slathered down once again on this side with the that citrus stripper, and this is what I'm using right here. And I'm just using some bags from the grocery store right now. I mentioned that earlier. You can do it that way. You just want to put some plastic on there. It's just basically to keep air from getting to it, so it doesn't all evaporate away on your dry out. If that stuff dries out, well, that's kind of what you'd be dealing with right there. And we don't want that to happen. That's why we wrap it in plastic. Alright, I'm going to flip this over. Or I say I am. A little sticky. Alright, here we go. Trying not to wear this stuff. I'm going to put the camera down for just a second. Gets a little sticky and a little hard to handle. A little bit gooey. I guess gooey's what you want. Alright. Alright, here. Let's readjust that camera. I'll slather down the other side now. I hope that tape works. Like I said, I really want to try to avoid getting into that checkering. But if it can't be helped, what I'll probably do is come back with some really dark stain and stain the area of that checkering right there, and with some darker stain. And that'll be kind of like a contrast to the rest of it, because I'm going to try to come back with as close to original as I can. I'm actually going to use boiled linseed oil on this. And then if you need to, just throw a little bit of blue tape on it. Just hold it in place till I get home tonight. That's just in case wind picks up, my wife comes home, opens the garage door, I don't want this blowing off. Alright folks, we're going to leave it at that. Actually need to go over and do a little bit of work on my boat now. Okay, it's been a few hours. Let's see what we got. Okay, so that's going to need just a little bit more attention, and I think I will probably put some more citrus strip on that. And I've also got to strip the fore end up here as well. And so we're going to pick that up in the next video. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Runtime is getting just a little bit long. We will just pick up in the next video right where we're leaving off in this video. This probably will be several videos long. Like I said at the outset, this is going to be a rather lengthy process. It's definitely a marathon, it's not a sprint. So again, I just want to thank you all for watching, and have a blessed day. And as I always say in all my other videos, in all things to God be the glory. And again, thank you for watching.